Turn it up, turn it up. You're listening to the fastest growing leadership podcast in the Philippines. Bringing you the realest mentoring advice from experts on leadership.
I'm a real big believer in letting people do their thing.
Customer experience and everything human.
Some people see the thing that they want, and some people see the thing that prevents them from getting the thing that they want.
The Young Leader Podcast.
Keeping it 100, trill, and authentic. Now your host, international speaker, trainer, and your favorite human, Brycan Dayao.
Brycan Dayao.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Young Leader Podcast. I am Brycan Dayao. Thank you so much for being here. Our tonight's feature is an international class motivator with over 20 years of professional speaking experience. His international audience from the USA, Australia, UAE, Sri Lanka, Mauritius, China, and all over Southeast Asia describes him as a speaker who entertains while he educates. His biggest audience has 11,000 people in a single arena. Often sought for his expert advice, he has been on many broadcasting stations including BBC, Thomson Reuters, Channel News Asia, Philippine Broadcasting Corporation, Australian Channel 7, and here now at the Young Leader Podcast. He is the only Singapore speaker that spoke at the Global MDRT in Florida and Sydney in 2019. In this episode, he will do what he does best, racing you to the next level with his expertise. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Christian Chua.
Hey everyone!
Welcome to the show, Christian. How are you doing?
Hey, looking good.
Yeah, you too, as well.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, me too. I was excited for this show, and I am a big fan.
That's quite a long introduction you gave me.
Was it good?
It was so good.
Why is that?
You read it exactly the way I wrote it.
Yeah, I did. I actually read it the way you wrote it, and I added some spice to it. So the first question is, what do you do, Christian Chua, and how do you do it?
Christian Chua speaks for a living, which means I get paid talking. Isn't that nice? When we were in school, our teachers told us to keep quiet. Now that same teachers got to pay to hear me speak. Sweet revenge. Woo! So I get paid for speaking. I do keynote speeches on stage, and I do training. And I've been doing that for the last 20 years.
20 years. Wow.
20 years.
How did you start with the speaking and training career? Because definitely you told us that in school they tell us to shut up. So how did it start?
So I attended a motivational speaker. Probably you never heard of him, Anthony Robbins. Just like one of the most famous guy. And in the seminar, he said, if you wake up tomorrow morning and you didn't need to work for the rest of your life, what would you do with your life? He said, not what would you do with all the money that you have, but what would you do with your life if you did not have to work for money? Think about it, and what you would still do without being paid is where your passion really lies. I thought about it for a moment, and I stood up and I said, I want to be like you. And that's when I knew I would wake up every morning, pop up of bed, looking forward to be on stage.
Wow, that's amazing. So it was actually Tony Robbins who pushed you to do this.
That's correct.
You were a student at that time, or are you working already? Are you in the corporate?
I was a young adult, about 23 years old. My friend invited me to say, hey, come listen to this motivational speaker. And that was like 20% of my monthly income for the ticket.
I know.
And I was like, wow. I said, how long? He said, the whole day, 8 hours. I said, I can't even watch a movie for 2 hours. How can I listen to a person speak for 8 hours? Yeah. But Anthony Robbins really blew my mind. And I said, wow, a speaker can really engage you for 8 hours. And he set the standard And I thought all motivational speakers was going to be that standard. Fortunately for me, I saw the best on my first debut, attending a workshop. That was the first speaker, and it was the best in the world. And all the time I had at the back of my head, you got to reach that standard if you want people to hire you. So thank goodness I model myself against towards him.
So when you were 23, were you working at that time when you saw Tony Robbins?
I was already running my own business. It was a printing company.
And then you just gave it up, or there was like a slow transition?
Well, the printing company was founded by me and then my fiance, now my wife. So we just said we wanted to make money faster than working for someone. So we just stumbled upon printing and we started it. But based on our entrepreneurial acumen, it didn't matter whether it was printing or any other business. It was the same skill set. So we did pretty well for the 6-7 years, and then I kind of got bored. I didn't want my tombstone to look like, here lies a great printer. So I told my wife, could you just handle it while I pursue my other love, which is speaking? She said, sure, go ahead. And that's what happened. So she's still running the business right up to today. That's almost like 30 over years. And I'm partway through. I left that and I pursued my speaking career.
Yeah, amazing. You're actually blessed that there's a wife that took care of the business when you were transitioning. But this is like a common question here in the Philippines. What do you do? Do you follow your parents after college, or do you do your passion? When you say follow your parents, is actually working, not because that's how we are programmed here in the Philippines, like to work. So what do you do? What is like your advice or take on this? Do they follow their passion, or they need to be realistic enough to just work and forget about the dreams?
So there is a common saying, if you follow your passion, the money will follow you. Well, that's not really true. You need to find a commercial value for your passion. You need to find a commercial value for your passion. So if your passion can commercialize it or make people want to pay for your passion, then follow it. But if there is no market value for it, don't just blindly follow your passion because some motivational speaker told you to do so. So having said that, should you follow your passion or should you work? It really depends on your character, and I really urge you to take a profile test and an awareness, and you need to know this thing. What is your ability? Seriously.
You mentioned
because everyone can say, I want to be a speaker, just like everyone wants to be the American Idol, but only the top 10 are good or top 20 are good, but the remaining 2,000, 3,000 who came for the audition are not up to the mark. But everyone has a dream. Oh, no, I'm a good singer, I want to be an American Idol. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some of them have the mindset, but they don't have the skill set.
Makes sense. You have to actually level your skill set with your mindset.
Right.
Tell us about the personality test that you mentioned. That you have to take your personality test before you branch out to it, or you follow your passion, or monetize or commercialize your passion. What's that? Yeah.
Well, I created a profile test called Maximus Career Advisory Tool, or called MCAT, MCAT. And what it does is actually they ask you 29 questions and what are your strength type. Do you like to have a more routine job, or you like to have an adventurous job? Do you like to do planning, or you like to take on responsibility? So 29 questions. On those who are considered your natural strength, you fit it into the system, and the metrics will churn out the perfect job type. So that's the first thing you should know. Wow. Because what exactly is your passion? You see, some people thought, like in Philippines, a lot of people like to play basketball, right?
Yeah.
And if you become a pro basketball player, do you automatically become a basketball coach? So people say, hey, that's the natural progression from a player to a coach. But they're totally two different skill sets. One is a competitiveness, and one is a player and an athlete. The other one is actually a leader and a coach. There are two different skill sets. Just like a teacher is a teacher that teaches, a teacher teaches, but a principal is in leadership role. They are two diverse, although it may seem like in the same industry. So that's the first thing you need to understand. Don't chase the genre. You just don't stick to it. I mean, let me correct myself. Do not just because you're a basketball player, you automatically become a basketball coach. If that is the case, then every player would have been a basketball coach. So the first thing you need to know is where your passion lies. What is your real passion? And what is the perfect job type that allows you to play on those strengths?
Very nice.
Right. That's why you can see like Tiger Woods, he could play golf, but he can also play a second sport because it is actually the same spirit, the same character. So that's the first thing you need to do, of course. The second thing you need to do is then, like, for example, if you want to be a you want to be a basketball player, but when you play, you're not winning, then be realistic about it.
Okay. Wow.
Okay? So be aware of the level of your skill set.
Yeah. Very nice. This is like the first time that I heard about you have to, there's like a certain job type for every person. I know that at times it is like a personal decision before you go in college, or maybe it's your parents' decision. But when you graduate, it's actually something that you need to think of if you're going to pursue this or not. And I think that's where the passion or being realistic comes from, or the decision making. So you said that this is called the Maximus tool. Where can I find this? Because I'm actually interested in what kind of strength that I have, or what kind of job type that I fit in.
It's called MCAT .sg as like in Singapore. So mcat.sg.
mcat.sg. Very nice. Okay, so wow. So is this advisable for new student or new graduates to take this exam before going?
100%. 100%. I recommend 15 years old and above, because below that 14, sometimes your real character have not emerged yet. So, one of those things, just before I answer your question to the point, one of those things you don't ask 12-year-old and 13-year-old is, what do you want to be when you grow up? Because they don't know. They
Exactly.
really don't know. They only know lawyer, doctor, or the teachers that's standing in front of them, the fireman or the policeman. They don't know what a game programmer is, or a Boris. They don't know all this. So don't ask them, because they get fixated and then they pursue the wrong dreams. Okay. So at 15 years old and above, yes, go take the test. Why is it so important? Because why do you want to suddenly discover when you're 25 or 28, this job's not for me? You understand this? Because like in Singapore, the top students usually want to become a lawyer or a doctor. Why? Because it is such a waste if you got straight A's and you want to pursue in a less demanding career. You understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So they end up being a lawyer or a doctor because they don't want to waste that academic excellence, and then they end up and say, this wasn't what I wanted.
Exactly. Yeah, you know what? To be honest, I am actually a victim of that. Like, at 27, I realized that this is it already. Like, is this the end of my career? I'm gonna do this in the next 20 years, and I was like, no, I don't want this to continue. That's why I changed career, and then that's why I figured out, hey, I actually want to do this. If I just knew about that exam when I was like 18, even 18 years old, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna be like more successful with whatever I'm doing at the moment. But no regrets, definitely no regrets. Okay, so you're doing body language.
That's right.
Face reading, right? And then face reading, and then I think the future is scent reading when we talked about this. So the question is, how did you choose body language out of a lot of topics when it comes to speaking?
So it all started because one day a salesperson came into my office to do the subscription for then what we know the yellow pages. And when I first looked at him, I said, this guy looks like a con man. That intuition, that feeling. But somehow when he started speaking to me, he got the better of me, and I believed him. And I went into a small business with him, and eventually he turned out to be a con man. So I was conned by a large sum of money, and I looked back and I said, what was that first sense, that first impression I had, that I had a feeling that he was not good? Why did I have that impression? And we all have that impression sometimes, don't we? Like mothers,
Yes.
When they look at their daughters bringing home a guy and say, hey, that
True.
guy is not good for you. How do you know, Mom? You don't even know him. Oh, well, when I look at him, I didn't like him. I had that feeling. Well, it's not a feeling. It's an intuition that God gave us, and it comes from the frontal cortex of your brain. Now, the thing is, when you said you have that feeling, mothers who say that they have that feeling is simply says that they already know how to read body language, but they do not know how to define the points or the symbol and the signs, the tells that the person is giving. So I went into studying it, and I seemed like I'm a natural, and I can start picking out almost perfectly all the body language reads, and that was why I eventually even got called up by BBC and the other stations when Singapore hosted the historic Trump and Kim meeting in Singapore. Then I was on 7 stations doing the body language reads.
Wow. So now I'm actually amazed. So when it comes to the body language, one of the things that is really controversial is it is culture based, or it is race based. Like that's all.
Right.
That's one thing that I always hear. So if I'm Filipino,
Right.
I'm actually easy to read. If I'm gonna be studying body language, I'm easy to read like my co-Filipinos or my brothers.
Right.
And if I'm Filipino and then he's American, maybe I'm gonna be misinterpreting or maybe misunderstand the body language that I'm reading. So what's your take on that?
Allow me to answer that. Is that the body language that we're talking about is the same across all cultures. So a smile is a smile in every culture. A frown, a cry is the same in every culture. So how does culture distinguish itself? It's just the intensity. So if you are more expressive, like Filipinos or Italians or even Spanish or Americans, it's a bit easier to read. And those that are a little bit more subdued, like maybe perhaps the Japanese, then they don't show too much expressions and emotions, then it's more difficult to read. So that's the only difference. However, having said that, I recently had a Japanese who was challenging me, and he said, Mr. Chris, this is not applicable in Japan because Japanese show no expression. And I said, that's exactly what you did. You show me all your expression. Didn't you see that? You're just different. And from the type of Japanese that you are trying to stereotype, and Japanese do show expression, it's just a little bit more subtle. So in terms of body language, we just don't read it, but sometimes we provoke the emotions by the way that we question or we interrogate. We provoke and the emotion comes up. So we know whether you're angry or you're happy or you're surprised or you're sad.
Yeah, very nice. So that is where you started, or when you started body language. But how did it evolve to face reading? And then tell us about a little bit of the the scent reading as well that you're trying to venture in.
Okay, so body language is actually reading your current emotional state. So we are trying to figure out whether you're happy or sad, unhappy, lying, whatsoever. Face reading is a different thing. It's profiling your character, and that doesn't change overnight. You understand what I'm saying? So your body language can change from moment to moment. I was invited to Israel to read the 4 prime minister candidates last year, and we were talking about the characters. Their features tells about the characters, so they're quite distinctly different.
I agree with you that when it comes to the body language, it is actually the current state that you're seeing at the moment, or the now. When it comes to face reading, it's actually the overall character. And when it comes to scent reading, I'm kind of interested with this one.
Okay, so there is a whole study called scentology. I am interested in it. I wouldn't say I'm an expert yet. Why certain scent actually attracts women, or women attract men. It also boils down to pheromones, which is actually your natural body scent. So we like to sniff our kids because they have a certain scent, not odor, but scent that makes us so attracted. So you see young parents always putting their head onto their face into the baby's hair and take a sniff as if like heroin. Yeah, so they enjoy the scent of the baby. So in the same way, men are attracted to women's scent and women are attracted to men's scent. Then on top of that, which kind of perfume or cologne also attracts each other. So we're doing some studies and see it definitely affects and attracts. My question is, what intensity before it becomes repulsive?
I see.
So that was what I was more keen in.
I'm actually excited. If you're gonna be doing a book about this, definitely I'm gonna be purchasing it. Because now I know the difference. Like I have an overview. I'm kind of interested. So what does a certain scent attract? Right? If it is it a woman that you're actually into, or maybe your boss because you want that new promotion. I don't know.
Right.
So, I'm gonna be waiting for that. So tell us about. I know that you're big with rapid networking, and
Right.
I've seen this post a lot of times on your socials. Tell us about rapid networking. What is it?
So I've been speaking a lot in the insurance arena and real estate, and it is a people business with primary focus is on sales. I've written several books like Making a Fortune While Sipping Coffee and How to Be a Success Magnet. So I thought this year I don't know whether we can see it in the Zoom. It's called a Rapid Networking Skills. That's the front
Yes.
cover. So probably this station is going to be the first station to see this because it's not published yet. Everything else inside is blank.
Hey.
It's a mock-up book. So rapid networking skills, I won't share with people that I started off like a little introvert. I do not dare to talk to anyone, and today I can talk to anyone, anytime. And in this book, I share with people how you can actually approach anyone, anywhere. I've been to the Philippines many times, and I think like Filipinos are the most friendly people if they know you.
Thank
But
you.
very often I was told by the locals, don't talk to the strangers. They're going to be very weary and going to be skeptical and cynical. Is that correct?
Well, that is correct. You're actually accurate
But
in that.
yeah, but I have on my fourth and fifth trip to Philippines, I started to talk to strangers, and I knew it could be done because they started talking to me too.
That is correct. So when it comes to rapid networking, I think this is one of the weakness of Filipinos in general because like again, like what you said, that we were practiced that we don't talk to strangers unless they talk to you at some point. Okay. So
Right.
give us like, this is my weakness as well when I was starting in the speaking industry, because in the speaking industry you really need to network, right? So
Right.
you will never know who's your next client if you don't network. So tell us or give our listeners small tips, or maybe your top 3 tips on how to rapid network. Let's say you can network 10 people in a conference. I don't know what's your number, what's your record, what's the
Eh,
the biggest number that you actually
Okay,
network
so
with.
rapid networking isn't mass networking. That's very distinctly different. Rapid networking means if you got about 45 seconds in the elevator, can you connect with that person? That's what I meant.
Mhm.
Okay, it is not about knowing 100 people because that is going to be quite senseless in a way. Get to know people, you break into their personal zone. So they will say, hey, Brycan, give me a call. We really need to have coffee one day. That is what you want to do. So you can build a relationship with. So maybe I can share with you an incident when I was in the Philippines in one of those malls, and there's a lady was selling some condominiums, and he said, so would you like to buy a condominium? Then I said, oh, I'm not from this part of this country. I'm from Singapore. And I said, I won't be keen. And then she said, oh, really? Oh, that's okay. That's fine. And then I just said, so how much is it, by the way? And she just talked to me just several seconds. And I said, all the best. Good luck. So I went through the mall and I came back again, passed that way again, and she recognized me and she gave me a smile. And I said, how much did you sell? How many did you sell? Then she said, unfortunately, I didn't sell any. And I said, I'm so sorry about that. I'm so glad that my job isn't as tough as yours. See, when you throw a rhetoric question like this, what do you think she will automatically ask you? When I say, thank goodness my job isn't as tough as yours, what do you think she next asks me? As a natural response, she automatically asks, what do you do for a living? Then I say, I read faces. And she said, what do you mean? I said, I can tell your character just by looking at your face. She said, really? Why don't you read my face? And then that's what I did. I just read her face and she said, oh my God. And she called all her colleagues and she said, this guy can read a face. He's from Singapore. And next moment, we were just talking like old friends. So
Wow.
it's
So
one of those
just
skills, one of the many skills that I'm writing in that book.
You know what? I agree with you. Networking doesn't mean that you need to have like an automatic business with that person. I think the rapid networking, it's more of like, the human connection as well, that, you can actually make connection with a lot of people, whoever and
Right.
wherever, right?
Right.
Very
if
nice.
if given several seconds when you're at a cashier or at a queuing up for food or whatever, can you connect with that person when the person says, why don't we have lunch together? After buying the food, they say, come, let's sit together and have lunch. That is what we mean by rapid networking, getting quickly into the personal zone.
Yeah. Bypassing the small talk and then just,
Yeah.
just go personal. Wow. Christian, you've been working for more than 20 years in the industry. And I
Right.
know, or not really know, but I think this is something, a foundation for everyone, that it's not really a smooth path along the way, right? So I know that there've been a lot of failures, going back, in those last 20 years. So what do you think is the most important failure that you had to face, and for you to realize that, whatever happened, because of that failure, whatever happens, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put everything, my blood, sweat, tears, with and whatever.
When you ask me that question, a few things comes to my mind. Number one is to partner that con man. That was one of my big failures, and the failure comes from inability to read people. Okay, so to bring that to bring that point across to the viewers that are listening, how can that benefit you? Is that how you choose your partners can really determine whether your business fail or succeed. It's very natural that we automatically, when we start a business, when we are young, we automatically want to partner with our friends, our best friends.
Yeah.
Why? Because we're comfortable with that person. And I hope it works for you. But sometimes your best friend is not the best person to work with, because you're so close, you just don't know how to say no to that person sometimes. And secondly, that person, while he is your buddy, may not have the right skill set. So I've seen this very often. Most people want to partner their own, their closest friends. So, watch out for that. So that probably will be one of the early failures that I had. And probably the other failures are maybe business decisions and investment decisions. And you know what, like, who gets it right the first time? Going into investments, who get it right first time? Most of us have lots of failures. But if you keep doing it, you only get better and better and better at it, because you've gone through the school of hard knocks, and then eventually no textbook can replace those experiences. If those of you who understand what I'm talking about with regards to investment, there's a book called The Psychology of Investors, and if you read that book, you're going to laugh because that right author just tells you everything that you have just gone through, and you just laugh. Yeah, what an idiot I am. This is exactly how I behave when I'm emotional during a trade or during a investment deal.
Yeah. Wow. I love what you said, that your best friend is not the best partner you can have. And I agree with you, because definitely the people you are comfortable with are the first people you're going to be wanting to partner with if you're
Right.
starting something. But I have to say as well that when something that is common to everyone, that when you're trying to start something, the people who will also first reject you are your friends, and the people who will
Mm-hmm.
first believe you are actually the strangers. And I think this
Right.
is one of the thoughts from Jack Ma that I'm really impressed, and I really put it in my heart that, what, at the end of the day, I'm gonna go with the strangers if I want to start with something. Anyway, I think what for in the last 20 years, I don't want to be actually be specific on what year you started, but what advice can you give your 20-year younger self?
20 years younger self.
Yeah.
Buy Google stock, buy Apple stock, buy PayPal, buy Zoom, and keep for 2020. I'm just kidding. Don't write that down.
But I love that. I love that, mate. I love that.
The advice I would give myself, and it's the same advice I would give the young Filipinos, is this: go learn something learn a special skill. If you learn a common skill, yeah, probably the jobs are plenty. That's why a lot of people are going into some herd mentality type of skill set. But a generalist earns less than a specialist. So a GP, a doctor, learns less than a specialist if you specialize in the ear or brain surgery or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And you think about it, when you've been to a general practitioner, he's got to see all kinds of illness all the time, and his whole medical cupboard is filled. His dispensary is filled with all kinds of medication, right? If you go to a skin doctor, he's only got 10 to 20 types of medicine because everyone's coming with a very specific type of illness, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yet he get paid more. So what I want to share with you young Filipinos is, if you can just don't stop at your university, because the knowledge that you gain in the university is the same knowledge that your lecturer has. That's why he can teach you. You must go beyond that. That's the start of something. After that, go one more step after your degree and go and learn a special skill, take a course outside that most other people, when they stop learning, you continue just one more push. So imagine if I learn body language and I'm the only expert in Singapore, I get invited all the time. And now with my face reading skill, not only in Singapore, but regionally and internationally, they have no replacement. They get me. You understand what I'm saying now?
Yeah.
Right? So that advice I give, even to my own children, have a special skill. Go for it.
Wow. And buy those stocks.
And buy those stocks.
You spoke in front of 11,000 people. I think the most that I spoke in front of is actually 1,000 people, and I enjoyed every bit of it. But imagining 11,000 people in front of you, I think that is something really, a speaker's wish, or something that they really want to experience at some point. When you spoke in front of those 11,000 people in an arena, it's actually a huge arena, by the way. Did you realize that was the crowning moment that you realized, you know what, I am Tony Robbins now. You know what, I made it. Because the same Tony Robbins that you saw last time, right, when you started, he was speaking in those kind of arenas as well. And then was that like something that, it was a winning moment for you? I think I made it. This is it. I'm Tony Robbins. Along those lines.
I got to be honest, it's one of the milestones in my life, and I'm really proud that I managed to enjoy myself in front of the 11,000 crowd. But having said that, I always remain humble and grounded, because each time I go out in the crowd and I said, how many of you have heard of me before? Only 5 people raised their hand, and 3 of them mistook me for someone else.
Mistook you for what?
And the other 2 is for who? Some other guy. I'm not giving the name. There's no way I'm going to publicize for the other speaker.
I love that. Any bad or good publicity is still publicity. I like the mentality.
They mistook me for a few other Asian speakers. Jack Ma and
What? Now you're Tony Robbins of Singapore. I'm gonna tell you that if the level is like Jack Ma or whatever. I love Jack Ma, by the way. It's like a fulfilling moment. The moment that you felt that this is it. Whatever happens in the next 10 years, maybe it doesn't matter anymore, because I've already experienced this. Do you have that specific moment, or every speaking gig is something that is very unique?
Okay, one of those most beautiful moments in my speaking career is to be able to speak in the Philippines. And do you know what? You know why?
Why?
Because that's the only country who says, no problem if you want to share your faith on stage.
Wow.
Every other country, they say, don't bring religion in. Philippines is the only one. Lead us in a prayer, tell us your testimonial, whatever. And, being a Christian, and I actually started off speaking in the church, and that's where I got my skill. I was a laity inspirational speaker in the church for 11 years. And then I asked the Lord whether I could use this skill that He gave me and use it for commercial usage. And He says, go right ahead. And for years, I could not share my faith despite all the big crowds that I had. Only on every of the 4 to 5 trips that I've been to Philippines, that the Filipino says, go right ahead, share your faith. And since this is a Filipino station and I can share my faith, I am very happy where I am right now. Speakers sometimes only work 10 days and have 20 days of the month free. Isn't that like a dream job?
Yes, it is.
We work 10 days. We spend 10, 20 days learning and enriching our knowledge. But there's a Bible verse I like to share with all the Filipinos there. But that Psalms 23 says, "The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want; I shall not be in need." But the second verse, a lot of people miss that, and the Lord says, "I will lead you to green pastures and still waters." When I asked the Lord, what does that mean? He says, "Relax; I'll take care of things. Enjoy."
I love that. Psalm 23. One of the things that I always tell myself whenever I'm confused with everything is actually Jeremiah 29:11, which I'm not sure. I'm definitely sure that you're familiar with. The Lord knows what are the plans for you, and plans to prosper you and whatever. I think it actually connects and relates with your verse that whatever happens, I'm gonna actually take care of you. Wow.
Right.
Thank you very
So
much.
want to share with you
In behalf of the country, if you're winning, one of the special moments that you had in your speaking career is actually speaking here in the Philippines because we allowed you to share your faith. Thank you
That's
very
right.
much. We really appreciate that. You were saying? Sorry.
If you would like to hear this quick testimonial, I've been speaking for 20 years, but one of those months, one of the December, I almost got no jobs, and I went to the Lord and I said, Lord, it's so embarrassing. I have no work this month. This is the first time in so many years. Can you just give me a few small jobs? So if people ask me, I say, yeah, I'm still in the business. And the Lord rebuked me and said, I'm not a lot of small jobs. Pray for few big jobs so that you still can have a prosperous month while having the rest of the month free to spend with your family and your kids, because that's the kind of God I am. And that's what I did. I prayed and 4 big jobs just fell on my lap within a week.
Wow. Sometimes the Lord works in mysterious ways and you just have to ask, right? I think
Indeed, amen.
Definitely. Anyway, I'm gonna be showing a video to our viewers, so the listeners on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Please check YouTube so that you can see the video that I'm gonna be showing Christian, and I'm gonna be asking what is this all about. Okay, I'm gonna be sharing this one.
At the moment Trump touches Kim, giving him the handshake, you see he's using his free hand, the left hand, to touch Kim's. That's a domineering gesture, which is very typical of most US presidents. This is a power play. Okay, so he's very conscious about this, and he will do this many times. The handshake is almost 12 seconds, which is very good. It shows it's very warm, and I don't mind holding you for that 12 seconds. If it's a very cold handshake, you will just touch and go. Trump continues to show dominance by guiding, like a host. This is my show. He points to Kim and tell him where to go. And there you see Kim starting to be comfortable, and he touches Trump. Could be a power play. It could be a friendly gesture. You need to take into context that these people are aware that there are thousands of cameras shining on them. So a lot of these things can be masked or can be rehearsed. This part is really interesting because it's very consistent with Trump that he will be the last person to enter a room. The one that enters last is the one in control. This is a very typical Trump stance when he meets other politicians. He has an inverted steeple. It means I'm ready for action. I'm not hostile, but I'm on high alert.
I love that. I love he looks friendly and everything. That is an example of you, in action. So I want to, show it to our viewers that this is you in action in the media on TV. That you were a guest in what program is this? I'm sorry.
Oh, this is the news.
Oh, is this the
Our local
Australia?
news station.
Oh, okay. So this was the one that you were referring to a while ago, that you were a guest for the Donald Trump and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay. I
yeah.
think my question here is, or maybe tell us a story when you're actually reading the body language, or reading for someone, for your client, and someone disagreed with your reading. How do you react to that, or respond?
I don't recall a time when I was kind of wrong, but I've been challenged several times. So maybe you would like to hear this kind of story. I was
Yes,
doing
please.
a financial talk for some high net worth. So before I started, and the crowd was just mingling, this guy came to me and said, "Hey, I see your credential. You're a body language expert." I said, "Yes, I am, sir." Then he said, "Well, read me." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "What can you tell about me, or what can you review from my body language?" I said, "So with all due respect, you're a high net worth guest here. You don't want me to do that." He said, "Go ahead, read me. What can you tell about me?" I said, "I can ask you a question. You're going to be very revealing." He said, "Go ahead, do it." And I leaned forward and I said, "Have you cheated on your wife before?" And his whole face flushed. And I said, "So don't ask me again." "Yeah," he said, "better not." And he turned around.
Oh my God! Is
So his blood just rushed to his head immediately, and yeah, it was really a sign of guilt, because there is a skill and a rhythm of how we send such a stinger question when they least expect it. We ask a very potent question.
and then they become vulnerable at some point, or automatically, because
Correct.
they don't
Correct.
expect your question.
Yeah, because if you are prepared, you can control your gestures.
True. 100%.
So we like to catch you off guard.
That's one tip on how to read the body language. But can you give
Yeah.
us a more tip as well, to appear dominant in your first meeting, especially when you're in sales, or you want to close that sale, and then you want to
Right.
leave a good first impression. Any quick tips for
Right.
us?
Yeah. So for doing sales, you may not want to be domineering, because it can be also construed as intimidating. But for sales, you know what people like? They like a little bit of energy. So move a bit faster. And if you're the introvert type, or you're starstruck, or you're frightened, be aware of that. So stand up straight, shoulders up, walk with bigger strides, move with bigger motion. When people ask you, your client asks you a question, don't answer with a one-word answer, because you sound like you're all tongue-tied. So when people ask you, "How are you today?" and you just answer a one-word reply, "Fine," and then the conversation stalls there, and then they say, "What do you have for lunch?" "Burger." No, if you want to sound more confident, answer with a longer sentence. So that's how you do it.
Very
But for
nice.
sales, always remember, you go in like a sheep and kill like a tiger.
I love that.
Your objective is to make your clients like you, not to be politically correct or argue with them over some political figure, or just tell them they are wrong and you're trying to act like you're a big time consultant. I tell a lot of the financial planners, I said, when you meet a high net worth person, don't tell them you are their financial advisor, because their monthly salary could be more than your yearly salary. Maybe they should give you some advice. So sometimes go in with a humble disposition, make people like you, they buy from you.
Very nice. I love that. You go like a sheep, or you introduce yourself like a sheep, and then kill like a tiger. Everyone
Yeah,
has their weakness. Do you agree, Christian?
yeah, definitely.
So what are
Probably,
yeah
probably everyone.
yeah yeah majority. What are you
Majority.
afraid? What are you afraid of as a person? Exclude snakes. You know, this is more of a personal question for our viewers, especially the young leaders out there. That I want to showcase here, that maybe there are people that they still have their weaknesses, or maybe they're scared of something, even they're at this level. And you know do you have any, excluding snakes? What are you afraid of as a
Well,
person?
I think some of the useful answers that I could give. to people is that you are timid, you are starstruck, you feel that you'll be overwhelmed by a older person when you're doing sales, or you're too young, you feel that you're incompetent to be a business person and things like that. So these are the probably the setbacks and the phobias and the fear that's at the back of your head. And you know what? All these things can be solved, and that's why coaches like us are around. So, for example, I'm teaching this new thing called the whole brain method. And one of the reasons why you are fearful is because you're more right brain. Any stimulus that comes towards you goes straight into your right brain, and it's all the emotional part where I'm fearful, I'm afraid I'll be judged, and things like that. So the left brain guy doesn't care because it's less emotional. So you use logic to actually neutral to cut to. He uses logic to rationalize things, and he will say things like, who cares, I just approach that person, and if I don't see him again, I never see him again, right? So that's how the left brain guy thinks. But the right brain guy keeps thinking, oh, why did that happen, why did the guy shout at me today, oh, I feel so scarred for the rest of my life. And the left brain guy said, but you never see him again, oh yeah, but it's in my memory. So you understand the difference between a left brain person and a right brain person?
Yeah.
So this new thing is called the whole brain technique. It's not by me, but it's a technique that schools teachers or some brain gym teachers, which means both your left brain and right brain work equally, 50-50. So you are both empathetic as well as rational. So when it's time to use your left brain, you use your left brain to neutralize the weakness of your right brain. Sounds interesting?
Yeah.
Or too complex?
How do you find peace, or how do you become ready during those times? Because, for
Right.
example, one example is when we go out, when we go up stage, like 5 minutes before, sometimes you are overwhelmed because there's something, or maybe you're not familiar, or maybe that 11,000 viewers or that 11,000 audience that you had. So there's still an overwhelming feeling, or maybe an easiness. So how do you find peace during those moments, or how do you become ready?
Right. For me, it's all about understanding, and why people get stage fright is this. You are afraid that the audience will judge you. So you see, a teacher teaches her students every day and she doesn't get stage fright. But a day when the teacher is asked to address a whole room full of principals, people that are more superior than her, she suddenly becomes jittery. So you understand, it's not about the stage itself, it's about who's in the audience. So speaking in a domain that I'm very familiar with, like body language or face reading or sales motivation, I have no issues because I know I am the authority on the stage. But you know what's intimidating? Speaking to other world-class speakers. So if you go into an association where everyone else is in the room is a speaker and they have bigger credentials than you, well, that's intimidating. So you know what? I'm using the left brain. Once I understand all those things, I know, hey, there is nothing to fear. Okay, yeah. So there are two things that I can talk about here right now. If you have any kind of fear of cold calling, or fear of taking the plunge or whatever, speakers like us speak to your conscious mind, and if you get it, you change. Because you get it, you change. But some people, they say, I understand what you're saying, but I just can't, because there's something lingering at the back of your head, and that's called the subconscious programming. So what's available out there are psychologists, psychiatrists, hypnotherapists, and even your neuro-linguistic programmers can do that. Can help you fix that.
NLP. Wow. Yeah. Subconscious programming.
These are the people that will help you rewire those areas.
Yeah. Wow. You're always on social media, and you're really funny. You really have an entertaining social media page. That's why I really follow you on Facebook. Follow him, by the way. What's your Facebook, Christian?
Hey, Christian. Sure, I'm not even sure. I got to check right now. If you allow me just to check what my Facebook is. And my Facebook is, it's Chua, Chrixchua. That's the extension. But of course, you look for Christian Chua. I'm there.
Yeah. Check his page. He's really entertaining with this page in a professional level, but very, very entertaining. You won't get bored. So back to my question here. Since you were always in social media, and you know that social media is a really powerful tool to reach like every kind of personality out there, the professionals, the artists. the creatives, the serious ones, and whatever, and or whoever. If you're given a chance to trend, you become trending, or your message or advocacy will become trending for, let's say, a week or a month. If you will be given a chance, what message is that, or what personal advocacy is that you want to trend for a week or a month?
This period, the word that comes to my mind is adaptability. We are in the middle of the coronavirus, the COVID-19 worldwide lockdown and things like that. People are getting a bit demoralized. I want to say that the key to survival is not intelligence or strength, but it's actually adaptability. Whatever will, if life throws you a curveball, you just need to know how to duck. If you lemon, make lemonade. It's all about adaptability. Take a look at your situation. Don't be negative about it, because negativity does nothing but immobilize you. Negativity does nothing but immobilizes you. So we must live our life as if things are going to get better. That's an assumption we must make, because once we lose the spirit, we lose our fight.
I love that. Once you lose your spirit, you lose your fight.
Yeah.
Wow. You have to, you have to post that, and let's make a trend. I love the message. I love the idea behind it. It's just real talk, and it will help a lot of people, especially the ones who are really scared with what's happening around the world. It's not just in your country, it's not just in our country, but all around the world. And yeah, what advice you always hear, but you believe otherwise? Like, you don't really choose to reply back to that person.
I actually have a whole session on the wrong mantras, life's wrong mantras. So things like people say, never judge a book by its cover, or sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt me. These are all wrong, because words can really hurt people and can really scar people. You say, never judge a book by its cover, but you know what? People judge us all the time. Don't you think so?
Yeah.
Our image, our branding, they judge us all the time. So these are wrong mantras to live by. And one virtue, that what don't kill you makes you stronger. Have you heard something like that?
Yeah. It's a song.
Yeah, that's not true, because some things that don't hurt you can weaken you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. True.
Some things that don't hurt you can still weaken. That some things that don't kill you can still weaken you.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, like
That's
bad dieting, things like that.
um
And also, being a success coach, I think a lot of people define success in their own way, and they say success is about living our life for others. Success is about this and that. It's only one way to define success, really. And the way is success is achieving the goals that you set for yourself. That's the real dictionary definition, and it's correct. Any goals that you set for yourself and you achieve it, you are successful in that goal. So you could be successful financially, but you might not be successful in your social, nor in your family, or in health, or in your faith. Yeah. And all true success will have a byproduct called happiness.
I love that. I love that. All success has a
All true
byproduct, which
success.
is
Yeah.
true success. I actually agree with you that when it comes to success, it's always subjective with different people, or it's a case to case basis. What's successful to me might not be successful to you, because we always
Correct.
have a different goals.
Correct.
But I agree
Yeah.
with you.
Short goals are actually short success are actually still success. Small wins are still wins, right? So
Let's take Jack Ma, for example. He is China's richest person, right? And everyone would say, oh, how I wish I was as wealthy as Jack Ma. Then why on earth did he give up Alibaba and he said, I want to teach?
true.
Yeah, because he has never experienced that part of his life. And I can understand that. Because what is 1 more million? What's 10 more million? It doesn't affect his life. But he says, if I had a wish, I wouldn't have wanted Alibaba. I just wanted to do what everyone else could do.
Wow. Coming from Jack Ma, it's a good, that's a good example. Like, He's already a millionaire, and it just proves that money doesn't really make you happy.
It doesn't.
So why can you, maybe this is like the final question for Christian Chua, and this goes out to our young listeners, especially the ones who are new in the leadership position or who wants to start something. So there are like a lot of people, or a lot of high profile candidates for a promotion that doesn't want to try to apply for that position, or doesn't want to try to start that startup, or to start something, even a hobby, or even something that they know that they're gonna be happy about. What advice can you give those people who are really afraid on starting something?
If you're afraid, then that's a bit sad, because you might never, the saying, you only live once. But then again, I cannot prescribe that, oh, just go for it, because I don't want to give an advice that you suddenly plunge into and then you got hurt and then you email me and say, Christian said go for it. Now look at what has happened to me. I've lost a limb, I've bankrupt. So my advice is this: if you do a calculated decision, be aware of what you have. Don't just say go for it. Don't. I will never say that. That's really irresponsible. Just like if we're talking about leadership or entrepreneur, I wouldn't advise everyone to be an entrepreneur, because if you take my career profiling too, entrepreneurs are one of the most talented group of people. In fact, in my profile too, it ranks above doctors and lawyers in terms of they require more they require a greater variety of talents than lawyers and doctors. Entrepreneurs require more. So to say everybody can be an entrepreneur, that's a very irresponsible
Statement.
advice. Okay, if you that doesn't mean you cannot go into business. It just means that you need to be aware what your weaknesses are, and you need to employ partners to fill up that gap. And that's why we have a board of directors. Just like in government, the president doesn't know anything. They have ministers or various departments who are experts in those departments. Does that make sense?
Make a calculated decision before you do it, right? Because a lot of our young ones are really being influenced by whatever they see on social media, and they think that if the other person can actually do it, then they can do it. No doubt about the trying part.
If you want to be a TikTok star, you want to be Instagram star, there's not much risk. Go ahead, right? Do a few dance, do some memes, and if you blow up, good for you. But if you're talking about you going into business, dumping a lot of money in, doing a setup, then yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. You might have only one shot, because if you go into negative, it will take a long time to recover.
Very wise words. Thank you so much for being here, and Christian. And you want to, before we close this, do you want to invite everyone on your socials, on your website, or what are the shows that are incoming in the next weeks, in the next months?
So I've actually two Facebook pages. One is Christian and one is Christian with the symbol 2. The symbol 2 is because I've been to Philippines so often that I've got so many Filipinos there. So that's actually a dedicated Facebook post for the Filipinos friends. You put I will update you when I go to Philippines. Or if I have any public workshops that you want, I will specifically post onto only that Facebook post. So it's Christian with the number 2 symbol there.
How about your Twitter, your YouTube, your shows, your books? Do you have any
book, you can go to my website christianchua.com. You can buy the existing books, which is Making a Fortune While Sipping Coffee, How to Be a Success Magnet, The Refability Factor. This new book, Rapid Networking Skills, hopefully it will be launched by June. Could be an e-copy, but this book is going to be very interesting, because when you read the book, there'll be QR codes there, and then you take your phone and you scan the QR codes. There I am on the video or other supporting videos. So it's no more just reading the book, but hearing and watching videos. So
quick question.
Good highlight.
Yeah. Quick last question. Quick one. What is the comfort food of a Christian Chua?
chicken rice. If you come to Singapore, it is not chili crabs. It's chicken rice. Hainanese chicken rice. Best in the world.
I love that. I love that. Hainanese, right? Again, everyone, Mr. Christian Chua. Thank you very much, Christian. And yeah, see you online.
Salamat
And,
po.
salamat po. See you guys, and thank you for listening and tuning in.
Thank you. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
This was another episode of
The Young Leader Podcast.
with Brycan Dayao. Now make some noise and tell your friends about us. What up, what up? Like, share, and subscribe at The Young Leader Brycan. For more high geek content, visit us at brycandayao.com. As we always say,
And whatever you do,
be human.